It has a dual control climate so that for my seat, it's a different temperature than his. He likes to put it at 60 degrees. I like it more at 70, so I don't freeze out and have to wear a sweater.
Today is Thursday, January 7th, 2010. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Molly Wood.
Welcome to Buzz Out Loud, CNET's podcast of indeterminate length, episode 1140 live from CES.
Woo.
And we have special guest Leo Laporte.
Hey, how are you? Good
Dragged him out of bed, made him come over here.
I'm exhausted.
First thing in the morning, you were all over Digital Experience press event last night.
I got hummus all over everything.
Wait a minute. What?
I didn't even find the hummus table.
I looked up and there was hummus on my iPhone. I don't know how it got there.
That's Vegas for you, man. You wake up in the morning, there's hummus on your
At least
iPhone.
I hope it was hummus. I don't
know.
know. I think it was hummus.
That's a 2010 thing. They replaced confetti with hummus now.
I don't know.
It's very hydrating.
Yeah.
People like to use it on their hands.
My iPhone's never been so soft.
And technology.
We're very happy to have you, Leo. And, of course, Twit's going to be doing a bunch of stuff from here, right?
Yeah, we're broadcasting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Not as sweet a setup as you guys got. This is incredible. It's beautiful.
Well, you should have seen
You're welcome anytime.
The rig that you got. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the rig. Colleen cobbled something together with epoxy and plexiglass.
Oh, she is good.
And hummus.
And hummus.
She has
That may be where the hummus came
I think the hummus is what made it all work. This man was streaming live from the Digital Experience press event yesterday.
Using
and everyone,
e-video.
we were all
It was
using
wild.
e-video.
Yeah.
Nobody else could really even get a signal, at least not if they were on AT&T.
Well, we had Colleen had all these different cards. You know, it's interesting because they're really touting it, the clear 4G here that Sprint's doing, the WiMAX 4G. And in fact, the bandwidth on plain old Verizon EVDO was better than the clear was.
I've noticed that, actually. My MiFi card works great, whereas the AT&T 3G kind of sputtery, you know?
So we have one of each, and then we have a box that's supposed to bond them together, but it turned out the best thing to do was just to use a plain old Verizon
Just in the
EVDO.
clear.
All we need to stream is about 300 kilobits upstream, and we sent video, and it worked all right. It's a little blocky. I mean, it looks a little bit like the early days of internet TV, but
like the old clips of the screensavers we'd post in Reel.
You remember those? How bad those were?
Okay, all right.
Let's talk about
do the
CES.
show.
Yes, the
was dangerous
HP
road.
Slate was announced by Steve Ballmer yesterday after a 45-minute power delay. Microsoft decided instead of having a glitch during, they just have a glitch in the entire conference room.
Right.
So they lost power for 40 minutes or so.
That cannot possibly be construed as their fault.
No,
exactly.
They
That's smart on
definitely
their
get
part.
a pass on this
Yeah.
one. Well played, Microsoft.
Get it out of the way early. So what do you think of the HP Slate? And they showed off a couple other tablet PCs. My opinion, it's a little bit like 2002 all over again. It was Windows running on a tablet. They showed the Amazon Kindle app working on the tablet. So they're kind of trying to say, hey, look, it can also be an e-reader, but it's got the full power of Windows.
What do you think is going to happen, though? Do you think? I mean, because then if Apple puts it out, isn't it just going to be a tablet running OS 10? Like, I'm not sure what.
No, all you're
seeing
seeing right now is more tablets. You're going to see nothing but tablets on CES show floor. It's not just HP. Everybody there. That was that cool U1 from Lenovo. Did you see that?
IdeaPad,
It's a laptop that turns into a tablet.
That's remarkable.
However, if Apple does that, then it's as big a ho-hum as if HP does it. I don't think Apple's going to do something like that.
I just think
something.
Tablets are ho-hum.
Well, I agree with you,
right.
and that's why whatever Apple does has got to be something completely another level up. It would be like us saying, 3 years ago, Windows Mobile phone, but smartphones, big deal. BlackBerry smartphones, big deal. And then Apple comes along with the iPhone. It's going to have to be that kind of a leap, or it is. Who cares? Because I don't care about another tablet.
And is it actually that kind of a leap if, from what reports are saying, that it's just a larger iPhone? I mean,
it's not.
Is that
That's
a leap?
the point. It isn't. It can't be. And if it is, Apple has stumbled badly. But it's got to be something. John Gruber was saying it's got to be like the end of Sixth Sense, where you go, oh my God, you mean
that
a revelation, a big aha moment where you said, I'm not no spoilers
It's made of
here.
people.
Yeah.
Right. Whoa, there you go. That's it.
It's got to be something like that, so that you say, we saw this all along, but we didn't put it all the pieces together, and this is a life-changing, earth-shattering event. It's got to be, or otherwise It's another HP tablet.
And it's
That's
quite
kinda why I don't
incredible
feel
that
like
we've
Apple's
taken the
gonna do it.
Microsoft keynote story and turned it into the Apple tablets.
That's my job.
That's because Leo's here.
But that's the thing, right? Is they came out with 3 tablets. They said, "Hey, look at these. They're running Windows." They weren't all that impressive, and they're not coming out until much later this year,
Right.
probably back to school or holidays. Apple's going to have an announcement at the end of January. It's going to ship sometime earlier than that. They're going to steal all the thunder.
Actually, to be really serious,
They're not doing a tablet.
it's Microsoft's job. Microsoft, and this keynote showed it, is a Me Too company at this point. Oh, they've gotten a towel. Oh, well, there is the Wii. Oh, they've got a tablet. Oh, well, there's going to be Apple. They didn't show to me anything at this event that isn't a Me Too product. They didn't do one thing that's like, let's innovate.
Well, what's really disappointing to me actually is that they didn't do the Courier. Because there was all of that video of what was potentially going to be the Microsoft tablet, the dual screen Courier thing, and had this journal feature.
made up,
you could
though,
drag
right?
things. It was made up, but just like any concept product is made up. I mean, there was video of something that was a fully fleshed out concept of something that I thought looked really pretty show-stopping. And the fact that they didn't do that they just did, other people's tablets, either suggests to me that Microsoft is not fully behind the tablet thing, which if they're not, that's smart because I think those things are dead on arrival. Or that, like you said, they're kind of done innovating.
They're just the Me Too company. In fact, they have been since day one. That's what Microsoft does. And I have to say, even Natal, I can't get excited about that. Can you get excited?
I'm kind of excited about Natal. I think because you don't have a controller. You're like doing it with your hands. Maybe when I try it, I'll be less impressed. But I feel like the idea of just being free to grab stuff in space could be pretty game changing, literally, because you're playing a game. And they confirmed it. When you explain the joke, it makes it that much funnier.
Yeah.
They confirmed that they are going to ship it by the holiday 2010. So
That is one that I never thought was going to come out.
Xbox on what?
for the Xbox.
Yeah, for the Xbox.
So
I
you'll
think
have to
Natala's
buy
gonna be kinda
a
cool.
camera.
I don't think that
add-on.
I don't think there's anything wrong with taking an idea that it already exists in the marketplace and making it better, because you can't tell me that that's not what Apple does.
It's exactly what Apple does.
So then
but they actually
they're just,
make it
I think
better.
that they're equal levels of Me Too companies, and there are times when Microsoft has made it better. Like you could have said they were a Me Too company because they came out with a game console and the PlayStation already existed, but the Xbox was really good.
Yeah, that's a good point. But
That's
not
true.
not
They can do it.
life changing, not earth shattering.
It
Come
seems
on.
like
That's pretty
Just
good.
It seems like Apple
All right.
bats has a better batting average at it than Microsoft.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
you don't want. I mean, look, this show today will be full of companies that are doing something completely unusual, one-off, nobody's ever seen before, and will disappear
Vapor,
right after
yeah.
Sunday.
exactly.
Totally.
You've
So-
got to take something that people want.
Yeah.
Which is why I think the whole tablet thing is bizarre. I just don't get the sense that that people
and-
want that, actually, which leads us quite nicely
And
to
I'm
the
with
later
you.
thing.
I'm with you. And if that's what Apple does, then I don't think Apple's got anything.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see.
the next keynote is going on this morning. Actually, Alan Mulally from Ford bringing smartphone web apps to the car.
I
This
talked to Alan
is
yesterday.
cool.
We had a great interview with him. He's a smart guy. He comes from Boeing. He designed the 767 digital cockpit.
Did he really?
He
Yeah.
designed the 777. This guy likes digital cockpits. And I said, Alan, this is a digital cockpit in a car. He said, you bet.
Yeah,
And the idea, just like a jet fighter pilot, you don't want to get people's attention away from what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this stuff, in-car stuff, I think is great. And I think what's interesting, now I should, a disclaimer, they're a sponsor of ours, but I think
And
ours. And yours too. Well, there you go. All right. So take it all with a grain of salt. But I think what's really interesting is that they are opening this platform up now. They Walt Mossberg said yesterday when he was taking a look at this, he said, in the past, you get in a car, you're going back to 1957, you're disconnected from the world, you're no longer online, you're no longer tweeting, and he said, this actually is taking the car interior and putting it into the present. You've got Wi-Fi now. It'll have 2 USB ports, one that you could plug your EVDO card into so your passengers can surf. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I think that's probably something people want.
Sure. It's almost
Maybe.
overpowered in a way.
Well, yeah, when we first talked about that they had rolled out the in-car Wi-Fi with the kind of bring your own modem, I felt like that was a little bit redundant. Like, you don't really need to turn your car into a mobile hotspot in a world where most people have some kind of connected device.
They'll also have always-on
But-
connectivity, even if you don't bring your EVDO modem.
Right.
That's kind of interesting.
right.
And then main thing to me is that they're going to open this up to developers. They're
Yes.
looking at what Apple's done with the App Store, and I think everybody is looking at what Apple's done with the App Store. Even an HP printer now has an App Store. So I think you're going to see App Stores for the car, and that's the idea, right?
Yeah, so the first 3 available apps that they announced are Pandora, or are announcing
Awesome.
almost now. Pandora, which is
Boy,
genius.
You got to be shaking in your boots if you're a music radio station.
And
right
they
now.
should be. I have to say, like I have spent. This is a tiny bit of a digression, but not huge. I've spent 6 months testing out satellite radio in my car because I got like a free trial, and I really don't want to pay for it, except that I really don't want to go back to radio. And since I've been listening to satellite, I have purchased so much more music than I ever did before from listening to radio, which was at least the original idea of radio.
Well,
was
they're
to promote
enabling
music.
that too, because you
And
can be
now-
listening to your HD radio, say, "Oh, I like that song." It goes to your iPod, then you order it when you get home.
Right.
And it's voice activated. So Pandora, sorry, I
Excellent.
did digress. Pandora, Stitcher, the Stitcher News and Audio Service, and Twitter. So could you voice compose a tweet
That's the
Turning
idea.
left.
while you were driving?
The idea
I know,
is-
totally. Oh my God, I'm totally going to get pulled over right now.
The idea
Still
is
Because I'm
driving.
shooting and driving.
Yeah.
that's what he said. In fact, we were looking at SHO that had it. He said, "Yeah, you dictate your tweet."
Oh, you know what? If
Oh,
they could
that is
hook
so wrong.
Yeah.
Zapatag.
It's just not okay.
Zapatag.com should hook up with Twitter so that when when somebody cuts you off, you can immediately post their license plate to Zapatag through
There
Twitter.
you go.
I love that.
Actually, you can already do it now. There's a
I
service
need
called
a
Dial.
dash-mounted camera.
Yeah, take a picture, zap them.
Take a pic.
There's a service called Dial to Do I use with my Ford Sync, and I press a button and I can do expenses, I can do tweets, I can tweet.
Yeah.
It takes the dictation. I think it's human powered. It does a very good job.
Yeah. We'll have the rest of the details about the Ford keynote a little later and
You know what
tomorrow,
though?
'cause it's
I
sort of
think that's
happening right
cool.
now.
This is a
But this is cool.
This is a U.S. car company, and they're
Yeah.
leapfrogging what we always thought were technologically more sophisticated companies like from Japan and Germany. And I just think it's great that a U.S. car company didn't take bailout funds, is really forward thinking.
Yeah.
I mean,
And is
get-
really regaining dominance on the back of
let's give them
technology,
some
which
credit.
is pretty great.
Let's give them some
absolutely.
credit. I think it's great. It's U.S.
Good
tech.
job.
It's American technology. It's a Microsoft Auto that
Yeah.
they're using. Yeah.
All right,
Definitely.
we got the Sony press conference to cover, but we got to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll tell you what they were up to.
I don't know when the oil needs to be changed. All you do is press a little button. It automatically runs a vehicle health report and it sends it directly either to my phone or my email.
All right, Sony had their big press conference yesterday and announced the Chumby.
The Jumpy 2.
The Sony Dash,
the Sony
actually.
Chumby.
It's basically it's the Chumby operating system,
is the
right?
Chumby OS, yeah.
In a Sony piece of hardware. Anything else different about it?
Well, it's $199 as opposed to the Chumbies. Wasn't it $149, the
Yeah.
Chumby, I think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's not that much different about it, I guess.
It's a better
but
screen. It looks like a bigger, better screen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a better
definitely
screen, and
sharper.
it has some cool kind of. It supports vertical flip. It's got an accelerometer. Like it's a little bit more advanced. Built-in stereo speakers, USB, headphone jack. It has the whole alarm clock feature. I have to say though, there was a lot of mockery of the poor little Sony Dash, but I see nothing wrong with this.
You're
In
gonna
fact,
cut
I
it to
want
its
it for my
defense.
bedside table.
It makes sense as a clock radio, doesn't it? Instead of a
does.
clock
That's
radio.
essentially it. It's an expensive, really cool
And by
clock
the way,
radio.
Sony is
Really
the number one
cool.
manufacturer of clock radios.
Yeah.
There you go. And you know what? A clock radio, surprisingly hard to find these days. All you can ever find are the iHomes.
That's true.
And I've been looking for one. Anyway, I think that the Dash
So then I guess the question
is
is,
kind of neat. I thought Chumby was great too.
would you actually pay $200 for a clock radio?
I need it to go on sale a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Little
an
bit.
internet radio
Yeah.
is $200, so it's actually at the right price point for
that.
internet radio,
Right.
and it does the same thing an internet radio does.
Right.
So I think it's with a full screen and weather, and I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of a cool
Because
product.
you'll use it a lot more than you would just any old clock radio.
Having said that, I had
Sure.
a Chumby and I gave it away. You know, I put it up for adoption.
Yeah.
Stopped using it. It's
Aw.
like, oh, hum. I mean,
I think at $199 there's some hesitation. At $149
Yeah.
I think I would totally buy this. It'd be
well,
done
that's
deal.
list. You probably can get it for cheaper, right?
Yeah, it'll come out.
Sony also replaced their Webby cameras with new BlogE cameras. This is in the flip category.
Which no, really, that's what they call them.
Yeah, the Sony
I was
BlogE.
so confused.
Irina Slutsky's
Yeah.
gonna go after them now. For
Oh no, there's gonna be like a whole. Well, seriously though, it's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Why would you call the Laura Grunin, sardonic as always, our camera editor here at CNET, was like, I was dumbfounded, or I was groaning when they called their cameras the Webbies. Now I'm dumbfounded.
Next year it's the
They're calling them
Tweeties.
bloggies.
Yeah.
The
They're
year
calling
after that will be the LinkedInies.
the cameras called bloggies with a lowercase b. Anyway, other than that, the cameras look kind of cool.
Yeah, it's in that flip category, which
Yeah.
nothing much.
But
else
it's
to say about
unlike the
that.
flip, which is hard to shoot with. It's handheld and you point at it, so that's
Yes.
better.
I like
got
that.
the exact-
the kind of
yeah.
candy bar style, or
Yeah.
not candy bar
higher
style, but
resolution than
mini
the what were the old Webby? The BlogE had anyway.
Good Lord.
PlayStation Network is expanding to involve other devices,
Too ludicrous
so you'll
to
be able to
discuss.
access the PlayStation Network on other Sony things like your TV or your Dash. Maybe I don't. They didn't say that, but yeah, that could be cool.
I
if it
am
went to
getting
that
that thing.
The expansion starts next month with the availability of the PlayStation Network Video Store on Blu-ray players, PCs, televisions, and such.
Yep.
The PlayStation Network is sort of secondary to the Xbox Live network.
Yes.
Sort of.
So
Definitely.
they need to do something to innovate and expand.
Yeah, definitely. This is a start, I guess. I don't know. It's good to. This is the kind of cue that Microsoft should take in terms of actually creating a network that is available across devices. So I think that's a good move for Sony to make if it works.
And they announced new HD TVs in 3D. What a surprise!
Hey, Kel Surprise. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, 3D is the theme this year, which everybody kind of knew it was going to be the theme, but even I now, after all those months of saying it's going to be the big thing at CES, am kind of shocked at the extent to which it is the big thing
It
at
really
CES.
is, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed at how the convention itself is in 3D this year.
You know, it's amazing.
That is
I almost
cool.
feel like I'm
Yeah.
there. It's kind of.
They have, I think, like real people walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look real.
They
Yeah.
look pretty real.
And,
And you don't even
wearing
need
those
glasses.
No,
exactly.
That's the best thing about 3D TV. It makes these CEOs wear dorky glasses. I just think that's fun.
Which, honestly, though, really, every time I went to one, and I went to all of the TV press conferences yesterday, and every time I thought, I don't want this.
Yeah.
I don't know the person who has been clamoring for 3D TV, and I'm kind of surprised that it's this big of a.
I've been
of a
convinced,
bandwagon.
and I was like you, and I really was kind of. It's stupid who wants to wear glasses. Part of it is because it just reminds you of the House of Wax days, where it was like the 3D effects, and even in Avatar, there's a few moments where James Cameron's going, "Ooh,
I'm reaching
Right.
out to you.
But if you can make these TV experience more immersive without making it gimmicky, if you can make it more realistic, then and clearly that's what they're going for. And more and more after talking to people, I've been convinced that that actually is going to be in a couple of years. You're going to say, wow, it is a more realistic experience. But producers have got to stop playing with the effects.
They'll
Yeah.
get over it. Yeah,
Well,
once the novelty wears off.
It is a big step that they're starting with things like ESPN. That ESPN
Right.
is saying we're going to go 3D, so we're not going to be goofing off like
Right.
throwing the ball at the camera. We're going to be playing
Right.
football, and it's going to be in 3D,
So
and
think
that can be kind
immersive.
of cool.
Think immersive.
Yes.
And-
I don't
and
want to
think
wear
that-
those glasses, though.
Well, I agree.
just don't want to. I
And-
feel like that's a huge hurdle.
There
Especially
are-
you wear glasses. Have you put the glasses on with the
Avatar,
glasses?
I was double dork because I had the glasses over the
Over the
glasses.
glasses,
It was
yeah.
just really
I
lame.
just feel like that's impractical.
LG did something a little different when they announced their TV. I mean, they had 3D TVs, but they announced a Skype TV so that you'll
High-def
have a
Skype
camera
High-def
in
Skype
it,
TV, yeah.
and you'll be able to do the high-def Skype, which is 720p.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
It'll upscale, basically. It's kind of an interesting technology. All of them announced, not all of them, but LG, Panasonic, and Toshiba all announced basically voice over IP calling on their TVs. And Panasonic was the other one that had Skype. I think this is killer.
Your TV really is watching you now.
But here's my problem. TV is such a sit-back experience. We're getting comfortable with Skype in a sit-forward experience with your laptop. But if you've got the TV out there and you're sitting back here, they have to use a special camera with a special microphone that picks up sound at a distance better. It's not going to sound as good. It's kind of an embarrassing experience. We've seen these before. 4x4 made these years ago,
Yeah.
and they didn't take off. I don't know. I wonder. I think it works fine on a laptop. I use Skype all the time. I'm wondering if it's going to work in the living room as well.
Yeah, do you really want to have a conversation with like your parents, like in between their favorite shows, sitting on the couch? Oh, hey, how's
It just
going?
feels like awkward family
out.
photos to me. It's just
Yes.
Well,
totally.
and it's the way it's going to work. You're going to talk to your parents, right? And they're not going to have the Skype TV, so they're
Right.
going to be
Right.
all pixelated and blocky on your nice television.
Yes, that's
while
true.
you are going to be wasted on them because they're on an old laptop.
Right.
Well, in some ways, that makes Toshiba's approach, I think, kind of the worst in some ways because they offer basically a proprietary solution.
Right.
It's their own software, and you buy the TV comes with a bundle that includes the webcam and the mic and stuff. But then, do the other people have to have like Toshiba TV Talk? Or what,
Probably, yeah.
and so then that just seems
That's killed video phones over and over and over. I'm sorry, I would like
Who
to
do I
call you
call?
a video phone, but you have to have the same video
Right.
phone as I
Right.
do. That's crazy.
And
it's
at
an
least everyone has
$150
Skype.
add-on even on the LG, even with its Skype. So you've got to buy additional camera. I'm a little skeptical on this one.
Now, speaking of Toshiba, though, you were blown away by the Cell TV. It's an 8-core processor in there.
Yeah, the Cell TV is Toshiba always does these like incredibly nerdy press conferences, and they put up all these slides that are like waveforms and pixel blah blahs. But then underneath that, you're like, wait, I've been doing a little translating here, and this TV sounds awesome. So it's got 8 3.2 gigahertz cores. It's a 3.2 gigahertz Cell chip, but it has 8 cores. It's got a built-in 1 terabyte hard drive and a built-in DVD player, so you could potentially offload content onto this 1 terabyte drive and store it locally. It's got like Wi-Fi and all of this other, and then it has a built-in. It's a media server. It's a DVD player and a media server. It has the 802.11n. It's just a super tricked out TV that really, I think, for the first time, kind of takes that computing power, like turning the TV into a computer, it does it in a logical way.
And it takes
really,
2D
like
content on the
not.
fly and converts it to stereoscopic 3D.
Oh, that's interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, you don't have to sign up for a new package or get the DirecTV content package or whatever.
It's like upconverting
everything.
It's like an upconverting
upconverts to
DVD
3D
player.
or standard up. And that, I need to see that.
Trickery, but
That's
yeah,
the
you
one
got to
where
see
I
it
want to
to
see
believe
it.
that.
But they say they're actually adding in pixels, and that they're presenting so that if it's 480 hertz, that they're presenting 240 hertz to each eye.
Yeah, but how does it even pick up depth? I mean, how does it know that the image that it's looking at, that plant in the background isn't attached to my shoulder? Like, how does it know that?
Because you often do walk around.
I know,
with a
that's what I'm
plant.
saying. I always have a plant on my shoulder.
It's a remarkable sounding TV. I suspect that it's going to cost roughly $47,000, because they kind of haven't said anything like that, but they did indicate that it was premium.
Now,
It's an interesting idea to put a processor in a TV of that power.
Yeah.
It really
they
is.
said, what do they say? It's 10 times the power of a desktop computer.
Right. But remember, I mean, you can buy a PS3 for a couple $100, so it's not like it's adding a huge amount of expense to it. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to wait for a conversion of all your 2D broadcasts, DirecTV announced that they are going to provide 3D TV as part of their regular service. It'll be a firmware upgrade to existing boxes, and DirecTV customers will get pay-per-view in 3D, DirecTV On Demand in 3D, which assuming would be movies, and a free 3D sample demo channel.
Boy, somebody really believes in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple.
Well, the big complaint about the 3D TVs is what I'm going to watch on it.
Right.
There's a few Blu-ray titles out there, but that's about it.
There is a Blu-ray standard, so that's good. And the
And
deal with 3D
standard.
is, as long as the content is in 3D and can be decoded, you buy the TV and the glasses that you want. So I think this is good news. If there's a standard in satellite, there's a standard in Blu-ray, there's going to be a lot of 3D content. Now you have to pick your 3D TV. Good news, there's quite a few of them.
And you can buy stylish glasses thanks to Gunner.
I saw those
That's right.
at the show last night.
It's like if you're going to have to wear glasses, at least they could look cool and live in a little case with the remote controls. Oh, the clutter, though.
I was hoping that they would have
clutter.
one pair that you could take to the theater, but because there's 3 different technologies, there's the IMAX Real 3D and Dolby 3D, they haven't figured out a way to make one pair of glasses that works for all 3.
Oh,
They've used different technologies.
Theater glasses.
They need to.
Oh, yes, I'm going to put on my theater glasses.
Okay,
now.
go back to the days of the opera. The nice
Exactly.
silver chain with your 3D glasses.
See, come on.
Currently, it's like Rodney Dangerfield. He gets no respect. These get
cool.
some
They
respect.
look
Yeah,
cool.
you could just wear.
give me respect.
These Gunner,
They're pretty
they look
stylish.
great. You can just wear these around. No one would know.
Yeah, they make. I have a pair of Gunners. They actually make very good glasses.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not wearing the glasses at my house. I just can't get behind the 3D thing. Like, I don't want glasses to watch TV. I don't want this pair of glasses sitting around that, like, the kid's going to get and break, and then it's going to be with the remote control pile, and then it's just going to be more crap in the house. And that, if I want to sit down and watch TV, I don't want to also think, like, oh, where are my glasses? Like, oh, no.
Now-
I don't want to do this. I don't
No,
understand.
But you know what? Bluetooth headsets, even when they're not in use, people are wearing them, right?
Not
so
anymore.
maybe they get to the point
Well, I
where
saw a guy at
glasses
the
are
dog
just
park the
so
other day.
awesome, they're wearing them all the time. And then when you're surrounded by 3D everywhere, you just see it in 3D because you're always wearing your glasses. Huh? What do you
And then
think,
we'll
Molly?
get 3D.
Come on,
We'll get
come
3D
on.
clothing.
It's a grim future, but I suppose it's a possible one.
Leo's shirt will have a 3D
I think you should have
pattern.
a visor, whatever. You should have a button on your regular glasses. That
Right,
you
there you
flip.
go.
There'll be
There you go,
ways.
yeah.
There'll be ways around.
Retrofit.
Also, a few more stories. Netflix has agreed to a Warner's release delay in exchange for more streaming rights. So Netflix has said we'll agree to a 28-day delay for renting new DVD releases to give Warner a chance to sell the DVDs in exchange for having more of their back catalog available for streaming on Netflix.
You know what this tells you? That it's much more important for the future of Netflix that the streaming
have
is there than that the rentals are there. Because
Yes.
they'll certainly lose rentals.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you have to wait a month to get it on Netflix, forget about it.
You can go down to the
Yeah.
corner store and
Yeah.
rent it.
But
yeah.
Netflix, the point is, doesn't care. They want the streaming stuff, and I'm with them. I mean, I'd rather watch Netflix on a Roku box than I would. I have a 1 disc a month, 1 disc at a time
Yeah, me
account
too.
now because I'm streaming everything, and I just want better stuff. So I think the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, I agree. I want better streaming stuff. I also think this shows this speaks to the level of hardball that the studios are playing.
Well, that's true too.
That if this is what they have, this is the kind of blood money that they have to extract in order to make more stuff available to streaming, then we actually probably have a long way to go in terms of getting to those really good streaming catalogs because they clearly aren't that eager to do it, even though that is kind of where the market is heading.
Well, if the studios start to realize that this is something of real value to Netflix, you're absolutely right. They're going to start playing hardball with it. It's funny that the studios actually know this. However, it seems like they're kind of clueless all around. But they really
know. They
must.
totally know. I mean, I think they've known all along. They just don't want to do what they need to do.
Right.
They want to save the DVD sales, and that's just something that's never going to bounce.
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
They're going to have to figure out how to get more money off the streaming, and they will. It just like everything else we've seen over the past decade, they'll drag their heels.
This is just like the ebook delay. Like it's kind of a speed bump on the road to eventually us getting what we want. Like I think it's a backward step in some ways. This kind of release window delay thing. But I think I don't know. Hopefully they'll come around.
How much more of the catalog are they? I mean, are they going to put the whole thing on now?
No, they just get an expanded amount. They didn't say what they get. Yeah, seriously, that would make it totally worth it. I would get excited about this. They said now everything from Warner. That starts to put pressure on the other studios.
Who's the first studio to do that? Somebody comes along and says, all right.
Who's in fourth place?
Yeah, exactly.
Because EMI was always the first to go DRM-free and try all that stuff because they were in fourth place. So, yeah.
So some studio's going to flip.
I don't know like who's doing the worst of the studios.
Yeah, me neither.
Lady Gaga's doing very well. She's apparently going to be at CES. We talked about that yesterday. She's going to be at the Monster booth. But now Polaroid, which is a brand, it's no longer a company that makes equipment, has named Lady Gaga as creative director.
Of course.
Of
why
some
not?
things.
Why not?
She's going to be doing some things.
If you're a dead company anyway, why not?
She will be working behind the scenes to develop prototypes in the vein of fashion technology and photography innovation. I don't know what that is. But you know what I'll tell you? Lady Gaga, no dummy.
That's not a buzzword.
She is no dummy.
Polaroid?
Photography innovation.
Oh, yeah, well.
That means something.
That means
not sure what.
Something. So, yeah, we don't know what she's going to be doing or anything, but apparently
we wanted to congratulate
she's kind of geeky.
She's going to be cashing a big check.
Good job, Stephanie Germanato. All right, our final story, a long-term study. This is not a CES story. A long-term study has exposed mice engineered to develop Alzheimer's-like symptoms to radiation from cell phones. The idea was to see if it made the Alzheimer's worse. They found out in their study it made their memory better. So it's a single study. They haven't replicated it, but the mice showed an easier time going through the mazes after being exposed to cell phone radiation.
It was able to reverse some of the cognitive decline.
And
I don't know if it's worth it if it
amazing.
comes. And the mice were twittering while driving.
While driving.
The mice were talking. So yeah, it's just one little study. The results are very preliminary, obviously, but it's just kind of one of the, I don't know. To me, this is just a story about unintended consequences in everything, right? Like cell phone radiation, bad. Well,
unless you have Alzheimer's.
I mean, they use radiation to
unless
treat.
you're genetically engineered to have Alzheimer's.
Well, yeah,
yes,
exactly.
there is that too.
These mice Alzheimer's was the suspicious part.
They're engineered to have the amyloid proteins build up that they think causes Alzheimer's. Right. And they do show some of the symptoms. So there is a little shaky ground there of whether this would actually translate. So don't go strapping a cell phone to your grandparents' heads or anything.
Oh,
this is
not cool.
This is early study.
Couldn't hurt, though.
Well, it could. We don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Cell phone radiation is such a murky area right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, we got a couple of emails. First one comes from the curmudgeon, who quotes Bono that we talked about yesterday. The immutable laws of bandwidth tell us we're just a few years away from being able to download an entire season of 24 in 24 seconds. Okay, says the curmudgeon.
Yes.
So a season of 24 non-Blu-ray is roughly 6 double-layer DVDs, probably about 30 or 40 gigabytes. In Bono's brave new world, we get an internet connection that can successfully pull down 2 gigabits per second. Newsflash to Bono. Americans don't have high-speed internet like that. Mine can barely handle streaming Buzz Out Loud's videocast. 40 gigabytes is a lot of bandwidth, and even if your connection could pull something down that fast, the server you're downloading the file from would have to allow the speed as well. Bono, we get that you're a cool guy who thinks very futuristically wearing sunglasses indoors and all, but I'm just not following your immutable law of bandwidth. Do you really think that the ISPs are the ones who are stealing all the money from the music industry? Is monitoring the internet like the communists in China going to help you sell more records? Do you think people are stealing from you even though your band is the richest on the planet? The curmudgeon.
I'm just saying.
I have nothing to
Although,
add.
to be fair, Bono is talking about the future and the curmudgeon's talking about right now. Like, I can't believe I'm defending the big D.
No,
but
and the curmudgeon's wrong because nobody's downloading Blu-ray discs. They're downloading compressed video.
downloading
Well, he said
That's-
double-layer DVDs,
Exactly.
not Blu-ray discs.
Or even DVD.
So, but
It's
yeah.
much smaller than the
but
DVD.
still. And Bono's talking. I mean, he's right that soon we will have that bandwidth capacity.
But it doesn't. It doesn't.
He's
in
wrong
any
about
way-
everything
He's wrong.
else,
Yeah, exactly.
including the glasses. But James writes in and says, back in the days of Windows 98, I saw a mental controller for PCs in CompUSA. It was a serial port device that looked like a fingerprint scanner. I played with one in the store, and it worked mostly, at least for their skiing game. Not sure if it was real neural impulse or biofeedback, but it stuck with me because the inventor had a quadriplegic child. They are still available on www.other90.com and require adapters to work with Win2K or, gasp, Windows Me. No word on Vista or Windows 7, which seems unlikely, I got to admit.
Yeah.
He says, although based on the website design, I think the company is trapped in the 90s. That or they have a quadriplegic webmaster stick using Windows 95. Yep, I'm going to hell for that.
Oh, James.
James.
Why'd you do that?
That's not cool. I wish I hadn't read that.
That was interesting. I
that out later.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't hear. I'd never heard about that product.
I hadn't either. So there were many ways in which you were right about the neural controller. You were actually just like,
I was right
you
in
were
all
trying
the
to
ways
predict
except
it,
the one
and
I
it had
meant
all
when I
existed
predicted
before.
it. Yeah.
I know.
All right, folks, don't forget, it's ongoing CES coverage on CNET all weekend long, all the way through Saturday. We've got CNET Live coming up live at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, right here on live.cnet.com. We also have Buzz Out Loud tomorrow at 9 a.m., and what day is it? Thursday?
I don't know. Yeah.
Saturday
Thursday.
at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and the Best of CES Awards on Saturday morning. So pretty much just go to ces.cnet.com, click on the Watch CES button, and just leave it there.
There's going to be something on.
Then Control-T or Command-T and open up live.twit.tv because Leo is going to be bringing you everything.
You'll really
else.
get confused.
And definitely let the sound go at the same time.
Oh,
and just
yeah.
see.
There could be some
Just see
happy
what happens.
accidents there. Yeah.
Actually,
Your brain
pan
will
it. One
explode.
left, one right.
If you really want a good time, have Dark Side of the Moon playing in the background.
yeah,
You're going to be in heaven. It's going to be amazing.
And that's the only way to get through CES.
Yes, it is.
And then you'll actually somewhat approximate the experience of being at
exactly.
CES.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel right now.
Turn up the subwoofer and let it all go.
And on that note, we're going to go in the
stay
back
on your
room
feet. Don't
and
sit
cry.
down. All right, Leo, thank you so much for
Thanks,
coming. It
man.
was great
Nice
having
to
you,
see you
as
guys.
always.
Yeah.
bol.cnet.com is our blog with links to everything we talked about in the show. We'll see you later, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
It has a dual control climate so that for my seat it's a different temperature than his. He likes to put it at 60 degrees. I like it more at 70 so I don't freeze out and have to wear a sweater.